had a question about how I'm cutting out my fuselage parts. And so I thought a good place to start is the DevCAD website. And on the left here, it can be kind of confusing. There's just so many different things and programs. It can be confusing, but they have this one program right here called devfuse, and that stands for, fuselages. And if we look at that, let's see, of course they don't have pictures, but this program here is like their actual, dedicated fuselage cutting out program. It would give you a whole bunch of slices, much kind of like a 3D print. Well, it's a little bit more money than I wanted to pay at the moment. So to kind of cheat, what I've been using is devfoam 2. And I actually went with the cheapest version here, devfoam LE. And the part that I'm mainly interested in here is the cut parts, and that's where you can do a DXF cut. And then I'll make some more sense in a minute. So let's go see how I'm cutting out my fuselages and designing those parts. I basically go to various places online for balsa plans, and that's what we have here. It is just some OV10 Bronco plans. And what I'll do is I'll literally trace, the parts out, one continuous line. And then let me get to the one. Here is my one where this is kind of my design page. And I have the wing. This is the side of the fuselage. This is what the fuselage looks from the top. Now, obviously, it should be symmetrical, and but I'm kind of cheating because if you lay both sides down like you open a book, you only have to do one cut, and that saves me time. Well, you may be wondering, how does it save you time? Because it still has to travel back and forth. Well, on this top pass, on my cam on DevCNC, I actually turn up the feed speed, and so it just goes like into turbo, like and then as soon as it gets here, I put it back into regular speed, and it cuts both at the same time, which you'll see in the video. And then the same thing here. This is one of the engine pods, which is the one that we're gonna do right now. And by do, I mean it's really easy. And then this is, again, its top profile, which will, again, be symmetrical. Now, these numbers are very important because when you import the file we're going to make here, it scales it up super big. And you can give it one of these dimensions, and it scales it to your correct size. And I've measured it, and it comes out like almost perfect. So to get your shape into a format that devfoam can use, you just need to, there's probably lots of ways you can do that. I just copy it. I open a new and I will just paste it in there, and then I will save a copy, and the format is DX. I just do the most recent DXF desktop cutting plotter. And I'll just do tests since I've already done this. And I will just accept all the defaults. So let's just pretend that I just did that. And let's go into here. And now I have opened up devfoam LE. We're just going to say cut parts. And we will go. So here I have a folder where I've saved all those things we showed you before. Fuselage side, fuselage top, motor pod side, motor pod top. I'm only going to do one of these right now, but I'll show you cutting out both. So let's just do the motor pod side. And I have here in the name of the file, so it's just easy for me to remember. Usually when I'm doing this on my other screen, I have Inkscape up and I can just read these numbers, but 667, I can remember that. So selected element size. So we're going to change that to 667 and click rescale to. And then we see that this number here went to 134. which is, I think it was 135 in my plans. So pretty darn close. I don't change anything else in here. I'm just clicking OK. And now we have, if you're using devCNC and you're happy with devCNC's cutting speeds, then don't change anything here. Just leave it as it is. The only things you might change, and you won't really know this until after you do a cut, is some of these offsets. I usually keep Y at least 5, and that means it raises its cutting path 5 millimeters off of the table, because I found sometimes, and you might even actually want to do this here, and then I'll actually place the foam at home, because I found if you leave this at 0, it cuts in negative space 0 a couple millimeters, and I've even seen it like drag on the table if you don't do this. So 5 and 5, but you know, foam is cheap. Do a test cut and then come back and check this. Another interesting thing is the default. Let's create a cutting path 3D preview. Oh, actually it showed it right there. So you can see the arrows are showing you that it's going to, this is home, it's going to come in and it's going to go this direction. By default, it's like, I think like this. Yeah, so it actually cuts from the bottom, and because you're cutting in here, it starts deforming the whole shape. It starts hanging. So I prefer this externals clockwise, so it actually cuts the top, and the whole time it can be resting on the bottom and not moving or falling or anything. And then it's as simple as creating the right G-code for the selected application, which is for me this case, and that's it. I'm going to go save that NC file. So what I'll do now is I'll show the cutting out of the motor pods, and it's pretty cool. This is kind of me cheating, trying to get by with 2 profile cuts. That gives me a 3D shape, and then I can kind of sand it down if I want to add more detail. All right, let's go watch that video.